I think as you become more curious in the PC building space, there's just this natural conversation that you want to have with yourself and maybe others, that you really want to identify where maybe some of the best pairings between graphics cards and processors are. So today what I'm going to do is take this RTX 2080 right here, and we're going to pair it with these 4 different CPUs behind me and kind of try to determine if there is maybe a sweet spot for that 2080 to sit, because you don't really want to go out and purchase too much CPU, especially with the market the way it is right now. But you also don't want to purchase too low where you should have just bought a lower end graphics card. So the CPUs that I have behind me specifically are a very old i5-4590. This is actually on the DDR3 RAM system. We have an i5-9600K, so a little more modern. Then we have a Ryzen 5 5500, so within the last few years. And then we have pretty much as modern as you can get, the Ryzen 5 9600X. We are going to do some gaming on the RTX 2080 in these CPUs to determine, like I said, where is that sweet spot, and perhaps did you spend too much money or not enough? So we're going to be playing Crimson Desert. This will be my first time playing it. We're going to get a little bit of gameplay, identify like how it looks graphically on the card, what kind of performance we're getting, the FPS, just the overall feel for it. And we're also going to test out Cyberpunk. So we're doing some AAA titles on this because at release, the 2080 was a pretty good card. It's still pretty relevant. I think the 2080 Ti is probably a little stronger just because of the VRAM limitations, but we're gonna find that out. I do wanna throw it out there. I do have a completely free newsletter that you guys can sign up for, where I will update you of the upcoming content on this channel. And the nice thing is you can actually leave comments on there. So if you would like to see a specific video with specific games, or like a specific video and I've pitched an idea, but you maybe wanna see it a different way, you're actually able to comment and contribute to where this channel can go. So like I said, it's free. There is a paid version where you can potentially enter to win a gaming PC in June. I'll have that link below. I am hosting a PC building class Friday, March 27th at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will have that information linked down below as well. Otherwise, let's go ahead and test out all these PCs. We'll start out with the 4590 and then make our way up towards the modern to really just determine, is there a good pairing spot for this 2080, or is it really just fine with just about everything? I mean, obviously this isn't a 9800X3D or 9850X3D, but 9600 is still pretty powerful and pretty relevant. So if it's running on this, you're more likely going to be good with pretty much everything. Okay, so first of all, I completely forgot that this is a 12-year-old processor and this is a brand new game. So it didn't really cross my mind that it might not run it, or it might not run it well. So I don't know why, but it took me forever to load this up. My pea-sized brain sometimes doesn't think these things through, but we did manage to get it loaded. This is my very first experience ever with Crimson Desert here. Let me run you guys through the settings. Again, this is an i5-4590. I turned everything down to low. It's pretty insane that it's actually running now that I think about it. I don't know how to play it. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I can tell you like how it feels and the experience of it. So you can obviously see that we're sitting at 60 and below FPS. I don't know if we're capped or if that's just what I can get to. Do I have it capped? I don't think so. No? Yeah, so I'm gonna walk around, play a little bit, give you guys my feel and experience for it. I really don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. And this is a 1080p monitor. I didn't think that the 2080 card should be on the 1440p monitor. Honestly though, for being on a 14-year-old, oh, come back. A 14-year-old, oh, there we go. Look at the guy. Dang, dude, for being on a 14-year-old processor, 12-year-old processor, whatever it is, that looks pretty good, honestly. I believe this is my VRAM. I couldn't adjust any of the settings on here because I was afraid that I was already going to make the PC crash. Like, it took me just probably 45 minutes just to get through everything on this. Wow, that looks really good for being on a... Again, the processor is a big part of it. This is, it's interesting here. Do I talk to this person? Is there something? Oh, is there visually something here that I can't see? Guys, I'm pushing down the W key and I can't get through this. So I am wondering if I haven't rendered something in. Can I get to him here? I'm gonna turn the graphics up really quick just to see if there's something there that I can't tell. No, there's nothing there. I just can't reach that person. Wow, that looks, dude, that's insane. Look at the quality of that. That looks so good. No way. That's nuts. Okay, whatever. Let's go back down to low because it does feel really choppy. It does feel really choppy when I'm on this setting here. Oh, here we go. Ah, okay. I figured it out. Interesting. Wow. I'm not going to play through a whole lot more just because this is the old one, but I am genuinely impressed that it looks this good on a 2080, and this was a mid-level processor when it came out, so I'm not going to play much more of that. We're going to go ahead and switch over to Cyberpunk. I do want to save like some of this stuff for the higher end CPUs because I think we're going to see a lot better performance there. So let's go switch over to Cyberpunk now. All right, guys, so now we have Cyberpunk loaded up on the 4590. I'll run through the settings with you real quick. So we are on ray tracing low. Wow, it's doing ray tracing low. I'm leaving it on the default for here. On Crimson Desert, it felt like it was too much, but I will probably just run with the default and kind of let it go through there. So we have frame gen off. Wow, it's letting me go this high, and we are getting 80 to 90 FPS. I just get blown away when I use hardware that is this old. Look at how good that looks, guys. Oh my gosh. This is a very playable 80, FPS or whatever it might be. Let me go ahead and get in here real quick. Now we have gone to another part of the game. We're still getting, 70-ish FPS. It looks like it has dropped some. This is just a darker part of the game, but it does look okay. I just don't like how dark it is. Let's go ahead and jump in the elevator here. We'll kind of look at this guy's face. It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, this looks so good for being on a 12-year-old processor. Okay, so it seems pretty responsive here in like the fighting area. Hopefully there's not like a lot of crazy stuff in this because I don't want to show any of that. Yeah, this is very responsive. Oh wow, there's a lot of people there. Wow, I'm actually like surprised there's this much happening because usually I think that's like computational, which is on the processor in my limited knowledge. All right, yeah, this is pretty playable so far. Ow. I feel like that's a good spot. We're done with this very low end. Let's go ahead and jump up to the 9600K and see if there is an improvement and if maybe that's like the sweet pairing because I think those came around about the same time period, so we'll see. All right, you guys, now we have the 9600K loaded up with the 2080, and we are back in Crimson Desert. So I don't know if I'm not smart enough, if there's a bug or if there's a limit, but I didn't go over, I haven't been able to go over 60 FPS in this either. That's weird, it didn't let me go past. All right, so I'm gonna have to go through the same scenes and settings here, but I will run through this really quick, and I dropped it down to low to see if perhaps I could get more FPS, but it wouldn't let me, so I'm gonna go back to what it defaulted me on, which was high. This is so weird. It looks really good. I imagine on 1440p or 4K this looks amazing. It did drop our FPS down. Oh yeah, this definitely looks a lot higher quality. I'm not sure if maybe it just can't get above 60 FPS on the 2080, or it's just because it's the 9600K. I don't know. I haven't watched any videos on this game, so I don't know what to expect or what it looks like. So when we're up close, I think it looks really solid. Sometimes when it's far away, maybe it's just because it's a smaller monitor. It does seem like it's struggling. There are some areas where I can tell like it is more limited, especially if I were on like a 1440p monitor, but otherwise, this is pretty solid. Again, the 9600K is also, I think it's about the same age as the 2080, so zoom in on him. You can see like, I've seen this in other games where if you have a little bit of a slower CPU or older, like like I saw it with Black Myth Wukong a lot, like in the cinematics they're just speaking. Like their mouth would move a little bit later than the actual speech itself.
I know the exact moment we were away.
See?
Bastards. How dare they?
It is a little delayed, but it still looks really clean. I imagine that's the CPU, not the 2080. So once we get up to like the 9600X, maybe even the Ryzen 5 5500, we probably won't deal with that anymore. But overall, it looks pretty solid. I mean, you can see the shadows kind of playing there. Graphic-wise, I think I am going to benchmark this game on a better card on 1440p. So we're gonna do the 3080 after this and the 9070 XT. I'm doing this whole series, like anytime I have a graphics card, I'm gonna test it out on whatever processors I have available at the time. So we're definitely this will be included in the games that we do for the 3080 and 9070 XT. Okay, so I wanted to include some of the cinematic because this looks really clean. Being on a 1080p monitor and older processor, that was pretty good. Oh, we're in some actual fighting here. I'm gonna try and I wish I could get in a little closer. Huh. So yeah, even on 1080p, we're dropping below 50 FPS. So I guess once you start getting into like actual gameplay, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it there. That way we can get through some more on some of the higher end CPUs. But overall, pretty impressed by the 9600K and the 2080 pairing. I would potentially be interested in going to 1440p, but I don't know if it's the CPU or the GPU that's limited. But in battle, we're dropping down to like 45 FPS, and it is playable, but it's not like a super playable experience. So let's go ahead and swap over to Cyberpunk and see how the 2080 does in that. All right, you guys, we are back in Cyberpunk on the 2080 with the 9600K. I was gonna continue where I was in the other game, but I realized there was a lot on there that I didn't want to show on YouTube, and also I'm just personally not interested in watching that kind of stuff. So I started up a new game. We're in the city one or whatever. I will show you the settings really quick. That way we can run through it. So it has us on ray tracing low again. So I guess it's kind of defaulting on whatever the graphics card is. That's what it's shoving it on, because that's what it did on the 4590, which was too high in my opinion. But sitting at 110 FPS. Now obviously this isn't like extremely comparable because it's, you know, not the same area, but I do want to like look at the people. I think it looks better. Where do I go over here? Yeah, I think it looks a lot higher quality than it did on the 4590. These people are creepy looking. I mean, so we were getting, I think we were getting 70 to sometimes 80-ish FPS, maybe 90 in like the best areas. But this feels smoother on the 9600K, and we're getting, you know, around 100 FPS or so. And the graphic quality is higher, I believe. So I've played it. I did get a chance to play this on 4K on the 9070 XT, and that was an amazing experience. But this is still pretty high quality, I would say, for the 2080 and what we're getting in smoothness. So I feel like this is probably a good spot to call it. And now we're gonna go ahead and jump over to the Ryzen 5 5500, put that 2080 in there and test out Crimson Desert. I expect that that's going to look significantly better than it did on this 9600K, but I guess we're gonna find out now. All right, guys, we have the Ryzen 5 5500 now paired with the RTX 2080. I haven't gone through the settings yet, but I really feel like it's gotta be capped because we're still just not able to go over 60 FPS. But I'll run you through what it's got me set up here. Woo. Now, I will tell you guys, the one thing that I've seen that this has struggled with on every CPU so far is it takes forever to load this game. And like when it's loading, nothing else can run. So I'm guessing that's all CPU limitation. It had me on low. I don't know. I think we were on high on the other one. So I'm gonna try that for a second. As far as quality, oh, I zoomed too far. It still looks really good. I think it looks better on this 5500. Yeah, it definitely does. Like you can see I think you can see like the sweat and yeah, you can see like the glistening here on his face. Everything still kind of looks bad far away. All right, so we're in some more gameplay here. Yeah, so we're sitting at 40 FPS. There is a little bit of slowness here. I might have to go down to low. I'm gonna drop it down here. All right, we're back in some gameplay here. Wow, there's a lot of them. So we're still sitting under 60 FPS. I don't know, just in general, like, we can't get above that because it's too demanding of a game. Can't I shoot my bow? Oh, I can. That's cool. Do I have unlimited bows? You do have unlimited bows. Okay, interesting. I feel like that's a good spot. We did see like maybe some improvement, but at least on 1080p, I am not noticing a massive difference between that 9600K and the Ryzen 5 5500. So we're gonna jump over to Cyberpunk, see how that game looks. I imagine we'll get some performance improvement on that compared to the i5 9600K, but for some reason, I guess Crimson Desert is just so demanding that 2080 might be hitting, like, that might be the limiting factor for it. So let's try Cyberpunk. All right, you guys, so we are back in Cyberpunk on our Ryzen 5 5500 with a 2080. I will show you the settings here really quick. I imagine it's gonna be the same thing that we've had. Oh, it's on custom. Let's go ahead and put it on the ray tracing low. What was it on that it was ramping up so heavily there? Okay, so pretty much identical to what it was sitting on the 9600K. 100 FPS. Does it look much better? It's hard to tell. Let me go look at some people. I mean, it's high quality. Wow, it's really got my fans. It's got my fans on the 2080 going. I don't know why. It's thinking this game just needs to run hard. Wow, it's completely almost using the GPU here, which is interesting because I don't think it was doing that on the 9600K. So maybe it's allowing it to here on the 5500. Like it's just a little bit faster. But it seems pretty smooth. The quality looks good. Oh yeah, you know what? I think they are a little better looking than they were in the last one. So that's interesting. I feel like that's enough of Cyberpunk on this. Let's go ahead and swap over to the 9600X. So I am thinking that the 2080, at least on 1080p, is starting to see not a bottleneck, but like a limitation of its abilities in these games. I would have to imagine like less demanding games would probably be stronger, but who knows? I'm just some guy on the internet, so we'll jump over to the 9600X. All right, guys, now we are on the 9600X paired with the 2080. Immediately, so I am guessing that this game is probably more CPU intensive. I could be wrong, but it loaded in a lot faster. And like on the other CPUs, I was having issues like just waiting on it to load to access other apps and things like that. So that could be things that I'm not smart enough to know. I don't know what the settings are here. Let me look for you real quick. Options, settings. What did it put us on? Ultra? Okay, so I'm gonna drop this down to low to start out just to see the FPS. I do wanna see if we can potentially get above that 60. No, so we're still hard capped at 60. All right, I think we made it past a lot of stuff. We can kind of just mosey around at this point. So I mean, it does look really high quality until you zoom out a little bit, and then the game does kind of look this is just my opinion, a little, I don't know, maybe it's because I play on a 1440p monitor and it's bigger normally, but I do want to up the settings some again. Why do they make this so hard? Challenges, skills, others. Here we go, settings. I think we could probably get away with going back to Ultra. Yeah, we're still getting 60 FPS. I really can't tell that much of a difference on Ultra here. You can definitely tell a difference on like the foliage and those kinds of things. Again, I don't think that we are maxing out the GPU. It is going to 100%. We can jump. Oh, there's stuff at his feet. That's cool. Yeah, I am thinking that we probably started around the 9600K and the 5500, kind of like hitting beyond a sweet spot. I don't think this is a terrible pairing, especially since I've seen like the 2080s going for, oh, we made that. Especially since we've seen like the 2080s going for like, oh, I'm not gonna make that. We've seen the 2080s going for like $200. There has to be an FPS lock on this. Again, I have watched zero footage of this game. I've watched zero gameplay. Know nothing about it. So you guys be gentle, because I don't know. But I will say, when I up the graphics to ultra, it does look better, like the trees before. So I'll drop this down again for you really quick. Okay, up close it's not so bad, but far away, like you see, it looks really like clumped together is the description I always use, or blobby. Oh, there's a minimum. Interesting. I didn't know you could go even lower. But now, like, see, now it doesn't look, well, now there's lighting involved and you can see the lighting going through it. Interesting, but it does look better, I think. I do think that, wow, that does look cool on the shield, the lighting there. I think that that's so cool that you can like see the ground coming up as I run. It almost has like a Prince of Persia feel to it. I don't know if you guys ever played that game, or I'm sure you guys are hardcore gamers or more gamer than I am. Oh, okay. There it is. And you have stamina. Ah, okay. Sorry, I'm actually like just playing instead of like describing the game to you guys here. Yeah, so the 2080 is handling this, but like I think the 2080 Ti, or perhaps trying to game in 1440p might be better. Because I played on the 2080 Ti for like 3 or 4 months. Like, that was my daily card. And that was, I think, a better experience, potentially. It could just be because this game is so demanding. I feel like this is a good spot, though, to kind of close it up for Crimson Desert on the 9600X with the 2080. We're going to go ahead and jump over to Cyberpunk. I mean, again, it does look pretty solid, and it is a good experience. I think we have kind of seen the limits of the 2080 as far as like exceeding expectations of where we were. The 5500 to this like didn't seem like it was that massive a jump. I will say though, like in the battle scenes and the fighting, it did feel smoother in this. So let's go ahead and jump over to Cyberpunk. All right, you guys, now we have Cyberpunk loaded up on the 5600X and the 2080. Try saying these things enough times and you'll start to have some tongue twisting going on. Let me go ahead and show you the settings that we've got really quick. We're gonna leave it back on that ray tracing low. So again, that really just left everything at like high and ultra. We're in the same area that we started in last time. Guy does look a lot clearer. We are getting almost identical FPS. Yeah, it's capping maybe 10 higher. I don't know why I'm yelling all of a sudden. It's going about 10 higher. I would say he does look slightly better, maybe. Yeah, he just a drop better. I want to run around and look over here again really quick. The GPU is getting actually, you know what? I never paid attention before, so I don't know how hot it got then, but 70 degrees isn't bad. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty.
Wait.
Why are you yelling at me? It's pretty solid quality. I definitely think we are again seeing here that we're kind of at the limits. I mean, I could try to drop the settings down to low, and that should put more on the CPU. But that definitely decreased the quality. Look at this really quick here. Did it? Let's look at his face here again. Yeah.
Back to your sewer.
I think it did a little bit, didn't it? Am I losing my mind here? Yeah, it did. Because you can see all the facial hair and the grizzle or whatever it's called here. I obviously can't grow facial hair well, so. Yeah, I think it does look
Out of my sight, you disgust me.
more detailed. I know I keep going back and forth here. It does. You can see like more lines and things. And I don't think it gave us that much of an FPS boost. Did it even give us any? I'm going back and forth. You guys are maybe getting motion sickness at this point. Oh, okay, so 70 more FPS. Oh, I did not mean to slide here. Yeah, it definitely does look worse on this. I imagine if you're like in a very intense battle area. Yeah, I feel like this is a good place to close it up. We got a good idea of both videos. I'm gonna go ahead and swap over to my final thoughts and then we'll just get on out of here. Now that we've had a chance to go through those 4 different processors, I think that there is probably a conclusion, though I don't know that it's super clear. You know, it ran on the 4590, which was super surprising. It even played Crimson Desert, which I think came out like, what, 2 months ago, maybe? The 9600K felt like it was a pretty solid pairing, which again makes sense because that's about the time I think they both released similar time frame. The 5500 was a slight improvement, but not much. And then the 9600X, like obviously is a huge jump from any of those, but I didn't feel like I got it out of it. So I'm thinking that there probably is a limitation in there. And again, I'm just some guy on the internet, but one, Crimson Desert does seem like it could be a lot of fun and very interesting to play. So if you're looking to get into that, it's not my type of game personally, but I know it has really mixed reviews. So I'm not sure exactly what to say about it, but it did look like it would have some interesting gameplay. Two, I think the 2080 definitely has hit a limit. The 2080 Ti felt a lot more powerful to me. In fact, I was able to run games on 1440p, and I imagine we could have tried to run this on 1440p, but I wanted to do 1080 just because it, you know, some of these CPUs probably aren't strong enough for that. But yeah, it felt like it was a solid card. Overall, I probably wouldn't go past maybe like AM4 unless you like absolutely need to be on AM5 with it. And that's like if you just decided your CPU was really slow, you wanted to upgrade and you couldn't afford the GPU upgrade at that point. But if you were on AM4, I personally would probably pick a graphics card upgrade before I would go with a processor. So just my rambling thoughts there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's brought you some kind of entertainment, maybe some education, who knows. But as you guys go, I would encourage you to check out some of my other videos and consider signing up for the PC building class. I'll see you guys later.